During normal operations, trains that come up from Portland will come in on that black track you saw on the control panel, cut the engines off, and they will then run around the train. Go down the passenger main. And they'll come in and couple on to the caboose. Push the consist clear of the yard ladder. And come in and pick up the outbound cars. Pull them out of the yard. And once we're clear of the switch, back in and pick up our caboose. Now we have a choice. Normally what I would do here is disconnect the caboose from the inbound cars and the Portland bound train can be on its way. Now in my world, the Mountain Division trains that come up to St. Johnsbury from Portland in the morning turn around and go back down to Portland with a new consist and using the same power and caboose that brought the train up from Portland. The afternoon train, on the other hand, lays over in St. Johnsbury for the night, and the crew that laid over in St. Johnsbury will take the afternoon down train using the power and the caboose that came up the previous day. Once the Portland-bound train has left the yard, we get a switcher from the locomotive service area. And he will come out pick up the cars that came up from Portland and move them into the yard. One completely authentic aspect of this, to add a little variety to operation, the St. J and LC, the Boston and Maine, and the Canadian Pacific shared yard duties in this yard, so we've got a choice of 3 different road names. Of power to switch these trains. Right now we're using the St. J and LC 70 tonner. This is the engine that was featured in a previous video. It's a Bachmann engine with a Soundtrack Tsunami 2. And I found this to be a really delightful little engine to use. I know that the Bachmann 70 tonner doesn't have a great reputation among serious model railroaders, but my experience with this one has been rather delightful. It pulls well, and with the Soundtrack's decoder, it has great speed control. And it's just a neat engine to use. A lot of fun. I also have an Atlas Alco S, I guess it's an S4. Actually, I've got 2 of them. One is an older generation that I painted up and installed the Soundtrack's decoder in a number of years ago, and naturally about 2 weeks after I finished it, Atlas announced one in the same paint scheme with factory installed sound, so I've got one of each. I've since replaced the stock sound decoder that came in the Atlas engine with a Tsunami 2. In my opinion, the speed control is vastly superior, and the sound is just head and shoulders better than the stock. There's a local switching job that originates in St. Johnsbury. Runs over to North Walpole. And let's see if I can pan over there and give you some idea where this goes. You run down that track that we called the freight main. And it's the track that branches off to the right and winds up over there in North Walpole. You can see the back of the roundhouse. See our excursion train. And that in the background is an original painting by Jim Heron of Heron Rail, which shows the Mount Willard dwelling and a pair of Main Central articulated 2662 locomotives taking a train up through Crawford Notch. That was done for me, if I remember correctly, it would have to be the late 70s, early 80s. And I very much appreciated that. It's made kind of a cameo appearance in one of the earlier videos, so it normally lives there on the wall when I'm shooting video that shouldn't have that in the background. I can take it down when you've got sky and mountains in the background instead of the heron painting, but during the normal course of operations when I'm here by myself, I enjoy it, so I keep it there. Another little tidbit that doesn't mean anything was a suggestion by my brother when he spotted the VW buses on the layout. I think I've got two of those mini metals. He says if you want this to really be realistic, you've got to have a half a dozen cars stacked up behind it trying to get around. He says if you ever encounter those on the roads in New England, that they always seem to be holding up traffic. So that's why the bumper-to-bumper traffic going up the hill behind the bus. Over here is the town of North Walpole, which has a small yard which hosts a couple of through freights each day and one local freight that comes over from St. Johnsbury. It's really rather squished in here to take advantage of all the available space. You enter the yard through a three-way switch. The far side branches off. One lead to the roundhouse, another track that bypasses the turntable, the track that has the blue B&M GP7, and you see the two blue B&M boxcars on it. This track theoretically goes on to Keene, New Hampshire. Now Keene, New Hampshire would be off the end of the layout. Again, if I had unlimited room, we'd probably model the town of Keene. But like everybody else, I don't have unlimited room. So this track is set up as a staging track. So trains that originate from here go to Portland, turn around, and come back. The tracks closer to us constitute North Walpole Yard, and the one closest to the edge of the table is dedicated to the use of the excursion train. Plus we have a team track and a caboose track. Then behind that we've got a Walther's 90-foot turntable and a 4-stall roundhouse and a track behind it for sand and fuel. The track plan shows reasonably well here on the little panel. The three green tracks are the excursion train track, the team track, the caboose track. The black ones constitute the main line and the North Walpole Yard. The stuff in red, of course, are the engine storage tracks, the roundhouse, and service facility. For a small space, it provides a good bit of interest. And this last shot shows where we are in the room. The door where you enter, right behind North Walpole, You see the camera crane sticking out of the top of my helix, and the main aisle and Portland just barely visible. Crawford Notch Station in the distance, with Mount Washington behind, and looking over the top of the North Walpole Roundhouse. On the right hand side on the top deck is Whitefield and the ball signal, and just about center in the picture here, we've got another view of St. Johnsbury and the industries and such that we discussed there. And my intention with this shot is just to show how everything fits into the room. And again, my workbench off to the left, which is one of those necessary evils. It isn't evil when you're working on it. I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you have any questions, I encourage you to ask in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer. And we always appreciate it when you like and subscribe. So see you in the next video.